And
This meeting is being recorded.
there you go, on cue. This meeting's been recorded. Okay. So look, before we dive into the webinar today, I really want to quickly talk about why we're here. Now, over the last year, we've spent hundreds of hours listening to our community, and we've really heard this consistent story. Like, we've heard from the implementers who are spending 20 to 30% of their time chasing data and manual reports instead of actually doing the implementing on the ground. We've also heard from facilitators who are struggling to track huge portfolios of sites because data is scattered across spreadsheets or PDFs or even different platforms. And we've also heard from investors who want to support nature, but they need more transparency and scientific proof to do so with confidence. So essentially, the community told us we're doing the work, but the data management is slowing us down. And it's really, this feedback is exactly why we built Restore Insights. And to be clear, Restore Insights is an additional feature of the Restore for Everyone platform. So the Restore for Everyone platform is the platform that you know today. When you go to restore.eco, go on the map, that's the Restore for Everyone platform, and that will always remain for free. It will be free to use. But we realized that for the restoration movement to succeed, we need to move from scattered data into one clear view and move towards standardization. And there's a very practical reason why transparency is becoming a non-negotiable for our industry. And we're seeing a massive shift in the way funding and certification is actually working. Look, I'll stop myself because I'll just continue to waffle. If we go to the next slide, and if I run through the agenda, what we're actually going to go through today. We'll do a bit of intro. We'll have some polls. We'll go into the insight features and benefits. We'll have a platform demonstration, and then we'll hear from one of our early adopters as well about a use case, and then we'll open it up for some questions and answers at the end. Okay, so to understand why we built Insights, first we have to sort of see the sheer scale and more importantly, the diverse community that we're supporting. Like, Restore isn't just a database, it's a living, breathing ecosystem. What makes this platform unique is really the range of voices contributing to it every single day. So, we're home to the local implementers, which is the reason why we built Restore in the first place. These are the boots on the ground heroes who are restoring their own backyards or the community lands. NGOs, from specialist national organizations to the world's largest international conservation groups, the private sector, so this is like corporates looking to move beyond greenwashing and into science-based transparency nature investments, and also governments. We have governments using Restore to track their national targets. And as well as that, there's also certifiers for you who are in the process of being assessed by the Global Biodiversity Standard, the TGBS. You will know having your sites on Restore is now a core part of that assessment process. Look, the momentum has been incredible. Every single day we see new users joining the movement, new sites being added to the map. It's a constant growing snapshot of almost like the world's restoration efforts. So to give you a sense of the current reach today, there's almost 340,000 community-led projects on Restore, over 7,000 organizations registered, and 35,000 plus users. Next slide, please, Max. So while the data is impressive, we wouldn't be here without our partners. And this slide is a very special thank you to our early adopters of the Insight product. The logos you see here represent some of the organizations that helped us stress test this vision and provided us with invaluable feedback. What we heard from them was a clear call from three major categories. First was the lack of capacity. Like, most teams have limited time and funding to dedicate purely to monitoring. The collaboration gap, the massive difficulty of collating impact data from multiple different sites and sources into one place. And then the translation hurdle, it's the struggle to turn raw data into actionable insights that stakeholders and funders actually need to see. Now, but beyond these, there was one reoccurring theme that stood out, and it's the reporting burden. We know that many of your projects are being weighed down by the sheer weight of reporting requirements. Right now, there's a total lack of standardization in our industry. Like, every funder asks for something different, and every project measures success in a different way. So by building insights, we're helping create a standard of what's expected, and maybe more importantly, what's possible as well. And really, because of this feedback, we were able to build our roadmap and our future development of this product as an unfinished product, and create these top priorities. So again, really massive thanks to all the early adopters, to really help us build this and design this solution by the community for the community. So next, we're quickly going to show you a promo video. This went out on our socials last week, so if you haven't seen it, we'll just take a second to view the video.
The funding cycle is here, and you're asked, can you prove the impact? One report becomes 5. 5 becomes 10. Building your own systems takes time and valuable resources.
To get funding, or keep it, you need to show impact, but collecting and analysing technical evidence takes time you don't have.
Restor's new product has a way to prove impact.
Restor Insights turns your ecological data into clear, funder-ready evidence. Track ecological change over time using reliable data, so you never have to rebuild a report again. Clear and credible evidence, ready to share. Map, track and prove your nature impact across your sites with ease.
Now, when someone asks if the land is recovering, you don't start from 10 files. Simply show the story the land is already telling.
Great. Thanks, Max. And we'll actually go through a full platform demonstration shortly. But to give you a bit of an overview of the dashboard itself, we designed this to be a central hub. It really boils down to 3 core capabilities. First is about mapping and grouping. The dashboard allows you to map your entire network and group sites into specific portfolios. So whether you're managing 5 sites in one region or 500 sites across the globe, you can see them all in one place. So there's no more jumping between different files or platforms to get a bird's eye view of your footprint. Second, we've brought the science to you. You now have access to advanced monitoring tools to track your impact in real time. This isn't just about looking at a map, it's about monitoring impacts like carbon sequestration, biodiversity, vegetation health, and so on. You can also self-report your own ground data, like the number of trees planted or the number of people employed. So your local expertise actually then lives right alongside the global satellite data as well. And finally, and perhaps the most important, again, about reporting. We know that reporting often is that biggest bottleneck, and we've built insights so you can report to partners with ease. So instead of spending days on manual decks, you can generate a data-driven insight and give progress and funders and stakeholders and give them those reports within just a few clicks. So in short, we're moving your workload from scattered spreadsheets into one single source of truth. And now I will hand over to my colleague Max, who will talk about some of these features that you get with the Restor Insights product.
Thanks, Gwyn. Hi, everyone. So I'm Max, Regional Engagement Lead at Restor, and also mostly supporting our Restor Insights subscribers. So before going into the platform demo, we wanted to focus on major features that are available only through Restor Insights. So this is data aggregation to combine site insights, self-report your ecological, social, economical, and workforce data, and also access advanced monitoring tools such as the beta version of the seed index and the disturbance alert. We'll now go through all of these. So starting with data aggregation, with Restor Insights, you can group and choose which sites to include in a portfolio. This could be by type of intervention, to report to a specific funder, or other key factors to tailor your dashboard. You then automatically get aggregated insights and graphs on land cover, trees, carbon, biodiversity, all from the ecological insights provided on Restore. And this is particularly useful for organization working across multiple sites. And this also works, the aggregation also works for site level ground data. What you can do as well is you can set targets and goals to track your progress against these, and you will later see in the demo is look. So one of the feature we're most excited about, and one that came directly from your feedback, is the ability to upload your local data to the platform, provide a more complete picture of your impact on nature and people. Satellite data are powerful, but it doesn't capture the full picture of what you're doing on the ground. The jobs created, the community supported, the trees planted, your tracking in field notebooks. That data exists, but it's scattered across spreadsheets, mobile apps, and funder report, and it's not visible to tell your full story. So we built this. The self-reported data feature lets you upload your own ecological, socioeconomic data directly into Restore using standardized data of indicators and combine it with the global satellite data sets already on the platform. So everything in one place, building one complete picture of your impact. So the feature is already live with 9 indicators, and we're actively working to enhance this powerful feature to make sure they match your monitoring and reporting needs. So this is still evolving, and we're now running a pilot with our partner Accenture on the workforce data part and aligning this list of indicators with recognized standards and other stakeholders. The full rollout.
Max, I'm sorry to stop you for a bit. I think like the slides are not changing.
Okay, so okay, sorry about that. On which slide?
You are still on the first one of Restore Insights. Restore Insights help you track, prove, and report your impact at scale.
Oh, sorry about that. Let me reshare.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, moving on to the seed index. So the seed index is another spin-off of the Crowther Lab, where Restore was born, and the beta version is exclusively accessible through Restore Insights at the moment.
Max, maybe I can just share the slides. I think it's still not changing from your slide.
Okay.
Your side. Yeah, just let me know.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, you can share.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry about that, everyone. Yeah, so the seed index, so it's a globally standardized measure of biocomplexity ranging from 0 to 1 for every terrestrial location on the planet. It enabled the assessment of biodiversity outcomes for sites undergoing regeneration, restoration, or conservation. So it compares your site to a minimally disturbed reference area and provides insights on your site on 3 levels: at the genetic, species, and ecosystem level. If you're interested to get more information about this index, our team will now share the link to the website and to the preprint in the chat. Moving on to the disturbance alert. So Restore Insights subscribers also have access to our advanced scientific tools to enhance your monitoring and reporting capabilities. So we are developing a range of tools to be accessible on the platform in the future, and we wanted to give you a sneak peek of one of these. So the disturbance alerts enables you to remotely monitor your site. It flags and maps significant vegetation or spectral anomalies on your site. It enables you to see and know where there has been a disturbance in near real time and to allocate resources on the ground accordingly. So what does it detect? It detects on vegetation cover change that can be agricultural expansion, urbanization, logging, mining, fire, drought, landslides, and for spectral anomalies, so shift in phenology, insects damage, change in cropland, harvesting dates. Okay, and now moving on to the platform demo.
Hi everyone, welcome to Restor, a global platform connecting people and projects working on conservation, restoration, and sustainable land management. To support monitoring and reporting, we developed Restor Insights, an advanced feature that provides a powerful dashboard to help you track progress and communicate impact. Through the Insights dashboard, you can view all the sites linked to your organization profile, whether they're public or private. A portfolio lets you group multiple sites into a single, clear, and shareable view. Each portfolio brings together aggregated scientific insights, like biodiversity, carbon, and land cover, with your self-reported data, such as the number of trees planted, people engaged, or hectares restored. The portfolio will also provide access to the Seed Index, a globally standardized measure of biodiversity that offers both a multidimensional perspective and a single state of nature index across genetic, species, and ecosystem diversity. Together, these insights give you both the big picture perspective and the story from the ground, all in one place. To build a portfolio, simply click Create Portfolio. Give it a name and description. Then select the sites you want to include. You can also filter your sites using text and the available filters. Then click Continue. You can add photos to make your portfolio more presentable. Lastly, you can add goals and targets to your portfolio. For each portfolio, you can choose which data to highlight and customize it anytime. When your portfolio is ready, share it with just a few clicks. Generate a private link and, if needed, add password protection, so only the right audience can access it. A subscription to Restor Insights also allows you to embed your Restor organization profile directly on your own website, making it easier to showcase your work publicly. If your organization is interested in a subscription, you can register your interest on this page. Start creating your first portfolio today and make monitoring and reporting effortless.
Great. Thanks for that. Now, to bring this all to life, I'm excited to introduce one of our key early adopter partners, Arthur Parry, who's the Chief Regen Officer at Just One Tree. If you aren't familiar with their work, they're a brilliant non-profit organisation that has made climate action accessible to everyone, from individuals to schools and to major corporations. So Arthur and his team have been a great help in shaping insights, and I'll hand over to you now, Arthur, to share a bit about your journey with Restor.
Thank you, Gwyn. Yes, what I plan to do here is just describe a little bit about what Just One Tree, who we are, what we do, how we do it, in fact, as well. What our objectives were with regards to the insights dashboard and also what we've achieved so far. So could we, Anissa, go on to the next slide, please? So as Gwyn said, Just One Tree is a UK-based NGO. We are working to restore terrestrial ecosystems around the world, typically in tropical and subtropical regions. We also fund restoration in the oceans, particularly kelp forests and coastal areas with mangroves. And importantly, something which I think makes us stand out from many other similar organizations is that we bring free environmental education to children and young people around the world. Currently in 17 countries and about 250,000 children and young people participating in that. We are, as always, looking out for suitable restoration partners, implementing partners. And at the moment, in fact, we're looking particularly for mangrove projects in Asia. And as you'll surely understand, we're also looking for companies to partner with us to fund the restoration. We are careful in our consideration of which implementing partners to work with, as well as which organizations, which companies to partner with. That's part of our ethos is making sure that we uphold certain principles in that regard. Next slide, please. So in terms of Restor, we're a facilitator, and the way we work as a facilitator, and I think this is important to explain so that you understand how we then are using Restor and particularly insights, is that we have a network of corporate partners and donors. Corporate partners are organizations that sign up with us for a longer period of time. Donors are more typically one-off and ad hoc. We also have a network of implementing partners, as I explained, around the world, and we manage the flow of funds between the two, and we also manage the flow of information, data, and stories. So the information there regarding the nature of the ecosystems that we're supporting, the impact data, which I'll come to in a bit more detail. Stories is a really important part for us as well, which would be perhaps photos, videos, stories from the communities that are involved in the management of the ecosystems that have been conserved and restored. We have no products, we sell nothing. So this is what we provide back to our donors is this information, data, and stories, which then can go alongside their own impact reduction efforts to demonstrate their commitment to a better future. Our objectives with Restor are much like Gwyn has already explained. So one of the key things for us early on was the ability to visualize the extent of our partnerships. This was very difficult for us to do before we were using the Restor partnership, but in fact, as you can see just to the left there, we can now see all the projects and sites that we're supporting around the world on one map at the same time, which is really important for us, as it's a very clear message to give to our donors and to potential future donors. We also look to create bespoke views, so portfolios, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a moment, but based on geography. So we might look, for example, at what are we doing in Latin America, what are we doing in sub-Saharan Africa, what are we doing in Asia. We might look at particular ecosystem types. So I might want to look at all of our terrestrial projects, all of our high mountain projects, or mangrove projects. Or I might want to look at what was active in 2024 or what is active currently. So on a time basis, in other words. And then the other thing, which is key and which has been spoken about quite a bit already, is the ability to consolidate our impact reporting. So if we go to the next slide. So here's a few things that we've achieved with the Insights dashboard so far. And if you keep clicking through, so the schools program. So the schools program, as I mentioned, is very important to us. So what we have the ability to do here, which is perhaps actually a little bit unusual, and not, I don't imagine there are many organizations doing this, but we are able to illustrate the location of all the schools and learning establishments that have taken part in our educational program, which is then super useful to be able to share, for example, with the schools themselves. Actually, they love to see who else is involved, and the ability to connect one school, perhaps in Europe with a school in Africa or Asia or Latin America or wherever it may be. But also, this is really interesting for our corporate donors who can see then that there are schools local to them who are taking part in this educational program, which is often of great interest to them. If we click through, in terms of data layers, this has been super useful for us to be able to add a bit more depth to the story that we're telling. So here we've got an example where I've used the tree canopy height data layer on the map to show the polygon there, the area under restoration, and how that compares to the areas around it. So just slightly to the, let's say, southwest, you see an area that was actually already restored, where the canopy height is slightly higher, which you can see by the lighter colors, but you'll see that it's in these are both islands in a sea of deforested areas, and that as a storytelling device has proven very useful already with our donors, and of interest to prospective donors as well. And then on to the next example. So customized portfolios, which I kind of mentioned already. So this one actually happens to be active sites in Kenya for last year. Again, if we're trying to tell a particular story or to highlight a particular area, so what we'll often do is we will have, for example, we'll create a set of assets, so images, data, videography, that describe what is happening on the ground, and then we'll include with that a portfolio showing that work in progress or that work that has been completed, and that ties things together very nicely indeed, and creates as I said before, a fuller picture of what actually is going on. And then we click on to the last of the examples. So eco-regions and biomes overview here. What I'm trying to show here is what you can do with the controlling of the visibility of the different data sets. So this actually is a portfolio that shows pretty much our complete set of sites that we support around the world. And as you might understand, showing, for example, the seed index for that is less relevant, because you're comparing sites of such a huge variety that it might not be relevant to show the seed index in that particular portfolio. So in that particular portfolio, we've chosen to show the ecoregions and biomes, because that's obviously a much more relevant thing to see. So you can see how our portfolio of sites is split across the different ecoregions and biomes, and that has also proven to be very useful, because what we've discovered when sharing this with existing donors particularly is that you can have sort of data overload, and so to have a much more targeted and actionable set of data, this ability to choose what is visible is extremely useful. To sum up, I would say, in terms of achieving our objectives, visibility, definitely a big tick there. I think there's still a huge amount of opportunity, and we continue to explore more opportunities with regards to the impact reporting, and particularly with regards to the uploading of self-reported data. I would say we're only just scratching the surface of that so far, but what we've already seen has been extremely positive, and has been extremely positively received by the people that we're sharing this with. So that brings me to the end of my part, and I think, Gwyn, I'm handing back to you now.
Yes, thank you so much, Arthur. Great to see. Yeah, it's really been really interesting to hear from you as a facilitator in terms of how you've been using the platform and how you've been able to have this overview of your footprint. So great to see. Look, now we've seen the power of the platform, but this is kind of the moment where we invite you to take the next steps with us. Max, Anissa, if you could go on to the next slide. So when you choose a Restore Insights plan, for many of you joining today, the basic plan is probably the perfect place to start. You're getting much more than a suite of advanced monitoring tools and reporting tools. You're also becoming a core pillar of our mission. As a charitable foundation, our model is unique. 100% of the revenue from Insights goes directly back into the platform. So your subscriptions is what will allow us to keep Restore for everyone completely for free. By buying a plan, not only will you get access to Insight dashboards, but you're also effectively supporting the local community groups and small scale restorers who need the visibility and the voice that Restore provides. But many of them just don't have the resources. You grow and they essentially will grow with you. Now, in comparison to other GIS softwares or building your own, this pricing is extremely competitive. Now, we really want to make this as accessible as possible. We typically offer a 30% discount for non-profits on all of those pricings. However, to celebrate this launch, it's been a long time coming. We're increasing that to 40% on annual subscriptions for all non-profits for those who will sign up between now and the end of May. In the chat, we will post the page where you can go in and subscribe online, and then you can use the Stripe links for payment, and you will also receive a discount code. If you just press again, Anissa, you'll see a discount code pop up on the screen. So when you come to that Stripe link, there will be a discount code, and then you can add that launch 40 in there, and then you'll get a 40% off that pricing. Just a few tips for those who are kind of starting out on Restore, who don't yet have profiles, and who haven't yet really started on the Restore for Everyone platform. Our suggestion is to get your profile up and ready on the Restore for Everyone platform, and then you can then sort of acquire these additional features through Insights. So the best thing to do is ensure you've defined accurate boundaries of your site, so actual polygons of where the areas are taking place, where the work's taking place. Add all your sites onto Restore, so you can really consolidate the impact. Use photos, clear descriptions, add colleagues and team members to your profiles as well. Also, make sure you add and link your partner organization. So if you're working with partners, or you're a facilitator and you're working with NGOs, add them as partners to your organization, and upload evidence of your work to build credibility. So my colleagues will post there's a support center that we have, which provides you with all the how-to guides. So there's a link in the chat. If you want to have a bit of a deep dive in that, you can do so as well. Just skipping to the next slide. So you can scan this QR code, or in the chat we'll post the link in the chat that takes you to the page where you can access Insights. At the bottom of that page, there's also a get in touch form. If you think you're interested in Insights and it's something that you think you could utilize, but you want to find out a little bit more and have a one-on-one discussion, we're more than happy to do so. Just fill in that get in touch, put your company name and your email address, and that will come through to us, and one of our team members will reach out to you, and we can set up to have a bit more of an in-depth discussion. So please go ahead and do that. So we're almost on the hour, so I'll end it there. I will close now. So a really, really big thank you to firstly to Arthur for sharing his story, and the partnership, as I mentioned, has been invaluable, and we look forward to extending that into the future with yourself. To those who've joined us today, thank you for your time. Thank you for your brilliant questions. And most importantly, thank you for the incredible work that you're all doing, and this incredible community that we're all building together. Just as a quick reminder, don't forget to use the 40% non-profit discount before the end of May. We will send out a recording and the slides to everyone that's registered. I think we had almost 500 people that registered for this webinar, in lots of different time zones, lots of different places around the world. So everyone can go back and relook at this recording. So, we're excited to see your projects and portfolios grow on Restor, and we're excited to continue to work together. So have a wonderful rest of the day, and it's a goodbye from me and a goodbye from our team. So thank you all.
Thank you, and feel free to reach out to us if you have further questions.
Thank you. Bye.